Danny, how you doing, man?
He tasks me, and I shall have him. I'll chase him round the moons of Nibia, and round the Antares maelstrom, and round perdition's flames before I give him up.
Well, I'm glad to know that's how you're doing.
Sir, this is a McDonald's. That's what I do you ever get like that if there's like a big fly in your room? You're like, he tasks me.
No, I do know exactly what you mean. It's, yes. When there's a spider, we've got this, like, spider grabber, which I can only describe as, like, a litter picker, but instead of having two pinchy things, it has, like, sort of about a dozen pinchy things that all sort of coalesce into the middle. And they're kind of flexible, so it doesn't squish the spider, you just kind of grab it and then throw it out the window sort of thing. But in theory, it's brilliant, because whenever a spider is on a rigid surface, like a wall or a desk, you can just stand like 2 or 3 meters away and then reach in with the spider grabber, grab it and chuck it out the front door. Yeah. Fantastic. But the other thing is when it's me and Monica are competing to catch the spider first, because if she catches the spider, there's a fighting chance she'll try and eat it, which I don't know if it's good for her, but it can't be as good as like cat food. Surely it can't be. It can't be a regular part of cats' diets. I genuinely don't believe. So sometimes I'll see her knocking stuff about on the floor, and I'm like, "Don't you fucking eat that spider!" And I have to run into the other room, get the spider grabber, and grab the spider that's like, "Thank you for saving me," and then I throw it out the window into the rain and the snow, and it's like, "You bastard!" So yeah, from one hot, clory hell to a frozen wasteland. That's the spiders in my house. That's what they live in.
Wow, what a nice life. No, that you get like that when you need to get Monica to the vet.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I do.
When she's running, she tasks me.
I just told you before we started recording, she's going on Thursday, because it's like a vaccination-y thing. Cats have 2 vaccines, and then like a booster every year. She's going for the second half on Thursday, and I'm just not looking forward to it. It's Monday, and I feel like I'm already emotionally preparing for the toll that Thursday will take. Because, like, I have to try and trick her to go downstairs so that I can close all the doors upstairs. Because when she's upstairs, it's the only place I can't get her, is if she's under the bed or behind a desk. But if she's downstairs, I can chase her somewhere where I can grab her. Oh, it's like a whole thing. But, after Thursday, she won't have to go for a year, so nobody will have to put up with my stories about the cat screaming at me, so that's good.
It's the greatest cat and mouse chase ever, where the cat is a mouse.
Yeah, the cat is a mouse, and the mouse is a human. Yep.
But before we go any further, let's spin the wheel of bullshit, and we can figure out what's on the topic for today. Movie bloopers.
Movie bloopers, God. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to me about movie bloopers, Dan. Have you seen some good ones recently?
I have. I really like movie bloopers. I think that they're an integral part of most films. I mean, obviously, some of them don't work. Like if there was movie bloopers for fucking, I don't know,
Schindler's List or something. I think I would.
Yeah, that I don't know how that would
Yeah,
I don't know how that would go down.
Yeah,
it might
badly, I imagine.
Yeah, it might clash tonally a little bit.
Just a little, yeah.
Yeah. I'm
just
trying
playing
to
over the credits. Bloopers for Schindler's List. It's like a really serious, sad, heartfelt film. It's like Liam Neeson's really emotionally powerful monologues and stuff. Then the bloopers is like a really upbeat pop song where it's like Liam Neeson fucking up his lines and going, "Oh, duh. Oh, you knew I was going to do that, didn't you, Gary?"
He's laughing at me behind the camera.
Yeah. I've just did you ever watch Evan Almighty with Steve Carell and loads of other people? Just like how that's like a film that happens, and it's not a great film, but it's an okay film. And then there's the bloopers that play over the credits, and I just imagining like other more serious films like that, like I don't know, it's Alien, and there's like a take where the alien's bearing down on Sigourney Weaver, and then the actor inside the alien farts, and everybody cracks up laughing. I don't know. It's just there's something weird about if every film you went to see had bloopers playing over the credits. It would be going to the cinema would be a very different experience, I think.
Yeah, I would say so. I want to I was in a film called The Wee Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's a gangster film, and I was about 11 at the time, and I was like, can we have bloopers at the end? It's like about a serious fucking gangster who's like, we weren't allowed to film in Glasgow because the police wouldn't let us. Can we have bloopers at the end where I said snow snotter instead of snowdropper? Do you know what a snowdropper is?
I don't know what a snowdropper is.
It's someone who goes into someone's garden and steals people's clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's a wee fact
to
for
what
you.
end? To clothe other people? For masturbating with? For choking people with?
I think it's normally
Normally a sexual
female garments that they're angling for.
It's concerning that there's a slang term for that, because that implies it happens a lot. You know what
I
mean? Which I don't want to imagine that happens a lot. I want to imagine that's like an isolated incident. Do you know what I mean?
Sadly not. It's an industry.
It's like an underground black market industry. Here's a question. When you were a kid and they used to mention like the black market in movies or cartoons and stuff, did you also imagine there was like an underground sort of commerce hall with people with like stalls that say nuclear weapons, buy one get one free, and things like that, and there'd be like guys with like just stacks of missiles, just like, if you buy this dozen, I'll put in a Hellfire missile for free or whatever.
I just used to imagine the underground bit in The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh my god, it's been so long since I've seen The Hunchback of Notre Dame. There was an underground bit in that movie.
Yeah, like they're in the sewers and all that, and then like the guards find them, and it's like, it's actually quite a dark film for a Disney film, The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah, it is. It's because I didn't see it until not recently, but fairly recently, and it really shocked me when the villain of the film literally sort of like, I kind of want to kill this child. That was his plan at the start, was, I want to kill this child. And then later on, he's just like, and then I want to have sex with this lady. I want to try and manipulate her into having sex with me. It's like, this is a Disney film, right? This is really fucked.
Yeah, and he's like a sort of incredibly faithful guy. Like, you know, he's into
I love
Catholicism and all that. And then there's an entire song dedicated to him saying, if she won't sleep with me, I'll burn her at the stake.
Exactly. How fucked is that?
What the fuck?
Exactly. It's like it's utterly insane and terrifying and horrifying.
Yeah.
I barely remember it. What, did the gargoyles come alive in that film?
That's right, they did. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. This is like a live action therapy session. I'm trying to recall memories of the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and you're like a therapist, and you're like looking at me over your glasses, jotting things down with a pencil and saying, and then what happened, Lewis? Then what happened in the Hunchback of Notre Dame? So
the gargoyles came alive.
The gargoyles, they came alive.
They spoke. Yeah, but it's I couldn't imagine bloopers on that film.
On the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you remember when Pixar used to animate bloopers for their films?
Yeah, like Toy Story.
Yeah, and they did it for Monsters Inc. as well. Yeah.
That's right.
That's how cool is that? It's like that is deliberately animating some bloopers to play. It's just it feeds into the illusion, so I suppose it's good for kids, but it's also like a sort of a wink joke for adults. It's really nice. I like it.
Yeah, definitely. Or did you see the movie Bloopers of Liar Liar?
I did not see the movie Bloopers of Liar Liar.
They're pretty funny because Jim Carrey's quite funny on his own, so it is just him for 5 minutes, making weird faces and
yeah, it's one of my favourite lines from that movie is was it his dad? Because obviously he can't lie, so he tells his son, and then his son says to him, "Are people beautiful on the inside?" And he goes, "No, that's just something something ugly people say or something. And he says, okay, so what do ugly people do? And he says, well, lots of people make a good career that way. And he kind of gently looks towards the camera like, I pull faces for a living. That's my entire job. I don't know, I always kind of thought that was a weirdly self-knowledgeable joke to throw in as a half-assed line. It was weird.
Yeah. Or like when his secretary's leaving because she just can't stand him anymore. And she's like, Mr. Reed, my friend was robbed by a burglar. He climbed up onto the roof and fell through it and hit his arm and broke his arm on the kitchen counter. And then he sued her for $10,000. Is that justice? And he's like, no, I'd have got him 15. Like,
Oh my God.
I know, it's fucking dread. And he's like, no, I didn't mean it. Ask me again. Ask me. Down. No, it's good.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at weird pictures of Notre Dame now. It's like...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Sorry, I've googled the Hunchback of Notre Dame underground, and obviously because it kind of burned down and then burned back up again, or whatever happened. So now there's just bits of pictures of Notre Dame. It's
the Court of Miracles, I think it's called.
Court of Miracles, Christ, that's a bit self-serving.
Yeah, a little bit. It's
Come
a
here
little
if you
bit,
want a miracle.
I mean, don't get a big head, man. Yeah. Dust just looks like, people with tents trading stuff, and that's, that's cool. That's fine, but I don't know if that's a fucking miracle.
So, what have you been up to in the last week? I feel like not quite sated on enough bullshit. Have you done anything ridiculous?
Not really.
Okay, good times. Eurovision happened! Did you watch it?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, I love Eurovision so much. It's brilliant.
Wait, who won?
Italy.
Italy won. Okay.
Yeah. It's the thing I love about Eurovision is the utter unpredictability of it. Because always, the first few bands come out and they're like actually taking it seriously. And they'll like do a couple of upbeat pop songs that are like, oh, that could win. Oh, that's quite catchy. Oh, that's a bit more moody. Oh, that's quite good. And then the fourth or fifth person comes out and does something completely tonally different. Like it's either a heavy metal singer or it's somebody that's just not taking it seriously at all and clearly just does not give a shit. Like Ukraine, whenever they participate in Eurovision, they always... like when they get through to the finals, their act is always really weird. I don't know what it is, but it's just bizarre.
I mean, I know that you really like it.
Yeah.
And I know that Will Ferrell film was an attempt to win me over, but it just,
Yeah, the Will Ferrell film, it's not an accurate representation of what Eurovision is. I think it's like it's a human story that happens to take place near Eurovision sort of thing. Yeah. The actual Eurovision is a very different experience because you sit there for about 6 hours and very little happens. Like the first sort of hour or hour and a half, you're watching the sort of 40 acts play their song, and you're like, oh, that was good, oh, that was bad, and like Chloe and I always keep track, and we sort of say like, oh, that was a 5 out of 10, that was a 7, that was a 8, that was a 9, oh, that was a 9.5, that was really good, or whatever it might be, and then they just they open the lines so you can vote. And we don't vote because I don't want to call some random number and waste a load of my money on that. But like, they essentially they just play a load of random crap. Then like whatever the host country is, normally the winner from the previous, because whoever wins Eurovision hosts it the next year. So whatever the host country is, their winner who won the previous year will usually play a couple of songs then, and you're like, yeah, great, you were good last year. Don't really care about you now that much.
So if you host it, you can't win it.
No, you can. You can. You just have to host it 2 years in a row.
Oh.
Which I think the cost of doing that is insane. So people generally don't. But I think you could, in theory, do it. It was really close this year, Eurovision was. Because the way the voting system works is ridiculous. They have what they call professional juries in each country. I don't know what makes them professional juries, but they are described repeatedly by everybody at Eurovision as professional juries, and then they vote on the acts, and you get to give, I think it's 12, 10, 8, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 points to acts, like sort of respectively, and you'll have like a celebrity from whatever country it might be will come on to like for us this year, for some reason it was Amanda Holden. Last year it was Rylan. And they say, oh, we give this is London calling. UK gives their 12 points for Eurovision to whatever it was. I think we gave them to France. I can't really remember.
And you can't vote for yourself, obviously.
No, you can't vote for yourself. And
fucking rip off.
Yeah. But then that's really interesting because the juries always sort of vote for who is clearly sort of a very talented singer. And this year, I think it was Switzerland and France were like sort of really level pegging throughout the entire thing. They were both really good, just in terms of technical ability. But Chloe and I ranked their performances quite low because they just weren't very enjoyable. But like Italy, who actually did win, they got quite a lot of jury votes because they were skilled. And we quite enjoyed their performance as well. But then they have the public vote, where you can get something utterly insane. Like, you can get 400 points in the public vote, which just completely upends the leaderboard. It's a ridiculous system, but it's really entertaining. The UK entry for this year was actually really good. Sometimes, like, because we don't win Eurovision, so usually we just send someone a bit crap. But this year he was really good. I've completely forgotten his name. I've completely blanked on it. But he came out and did a song, and Chloe and I both really enjoyed it. I know obviously we're biased because we're in the UK, but yeah, we really enjoyed it. And the juries awarded him 0 points. Nobody scored him any points at all.
Why don't we win?
Because everybody hates the UK.
Oh,
I know that sounds like I'm being contrite, but that's genuinely the case. And then the public vote opened, and we were expecting maybe they'll get 1 or 2 votes, just for like, oh yeah, he was quite good, but he was a bit better than this, and he was a bit better than this, yeah, we'll give him a couple of votes. Just a 1 point or a 2 point or something. And
0
again,
points.
0 points. Overall, both public and the jury vote, he got 0 points. But it was really quite inspiring in a funny way, because he was there in the crowd, and they would cut to him when it said, and the United Kingdom receives 0 votes. And he like sort of stood up and he was like, yeah, and he like took a bow and he like sort of threw his beer about, and he was like, he was having a really great time and he was working the crowd. He's like, I'm just so happy to be here, sort of thing.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was quite nice.
That's really the best way to handle it, isn't it? You know?
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing I like about Eurovision, is people seem to realise that it's fairly low stakes in a weird way.
Yeah, and it's all for fun.
Yeah, it's all for fun. They just kind of enjoy being there. And but yeah, the winners, Italy, they got some insane number of public vote points, as well as their fairly sort of impressive jury votes, which put them, I think they were over 100 points ahead of the person in second place. So they won by quite a large margin, and it was quite impressive and all that. 2 things have happened, which were quite contentious. Eurovision, I forget who the big 5 nations are, but they supply enough money to Eurovision that they are automatically guaranteed a place in the final. I know the UK is one, I know France is one, I can't remember the 3 others. But Russia takes part, and that's why I mentioned the big 5. I think Russia might be one of the 5.
Right.
Oh no, Chloe's just told me that Russia is not one of the 5.
Oh.
But yeah, Russia were in the final.
Hello, Chloe.
Yeah, Chloe's over there. But yeah, Russia were in the final and they did their song. So the song contest was broadcast in Russia, and the Italian band, 2 male members of the band, kissed in part of their final performance after they'd won. So that was like, I remember watching and being like, oh god, this is broadcast in Russia, isn't it? I wonder if that's going to have some weird Moscow uproar or something. It's not very contentious in any way. I just thought it was an interesting thing to consider. And the other dramatic thing is, pretty much immediately after Italy won, we were like, oh, that was good, and the show ended. And then Chloe and I both checked Twitter, and there's loads of videos of the lead singer of the band doing coke, or what appears to be him doing coke in the sort of the audience as he was watching some of the other contestants. So people are like, come on now, he's clearly doing coke, because he sort of ducks his head down and he sort of goes behind, I mean, it appears to be a fruit bowl, but I doubt it's a fruit bowl. I think it's like a thing you put like a bottle of wine in. Like, you know, they have like buckets full of ice that you put a bottle of wine in. I think it's that.
Yeah.
But he sort of ducks his head behind that, so you can't actually see what he's doing. But he sort of, you see his head go down, move to the side, and come back up. And so I think a lot of people are like, well, he must have been doing coke.
Oh my god.
Unconfirmed. They've said they'll do a drug test to prove that they were not.
Right.
I don't know if they have or haven't. But yeah, there's contention about whether or not if the drugs test, if they were doing drugs, whether they'd get to keep the trophy and Italy would still host next year, or whether it would go to the country in second place, which was France. Yeah, France were in second place.
I thought you were going to say they'll decide whether he gets to keep the drugs after. Right, okay, you've had a lot, but, I'll let you
they'll do a drugs test and say, okay, you are off your face, and therefore keep having them. Have a big night. Go on.
Go on, you've earned it.
No, I don't think that's up for debate. But
no.
Yeah, Eurovision is a spectacular sort of event. I know you didn't enjoy the Will Ferrell movie. I think
I liked Pierce Brosnan in it.
Pierce Brosnan was very good in that. Yeah, I know that you might think I'm drunk, but I'm not. I'm dead sober.
Yeah, and he was pretty good looking in that film.
Yes, Pierce Brosnan, he's a dish and a half, isn't he? Because he was handsome when he was younger, but he's aging like a fine wine. It's really bizarre. The beard, the whole ornery sea captain thing, really works for him. It's really weird.
It certainly does.
But yeah, 1 year when COVID has died down a bit, we need to have a Eurovision party and get you involved, because I genuinely think that the process of sitting down and watching Eurovision, it's more of a social evening event type situation. It's not like it's not at all like the movie, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, if it's nothing like the film I'm in.
Yeah, no, it's not like that at all. Actually, speaking of the film, Iceland this year were really good. I gave them my highest score of the night, 9.5. They did like a really upbeat pop song. I think Graham Norton, who commentates, said it was about the lead singer meeting his wife, and they've been together for 10 years. So it was like, we've been together for 10 years. Well, hey, something about that, I think. But yeah, it was like really upbeat and just sort of good and enjoyable. But the thing... Oh, God, yeah, that was what I wanted to tell you. The person that announced Iceland's jury votes, in the Will Ferrell movie, how there was that guy at the bar that was saying, play Ya-Ya Ding Dong! Play Ya-Ya Ding Dong!
Yeah.
They got that guy to do it. So he came on and he was like, our 12 points from Iceland go to Ya-Ya Ding Dong. And they say, no, you can't. I mean, clearly it's a rehearsed bit. But you can't give it to Ya-Ya Ding Dong. Who do you really give your points to? And he was like, we're fine. We give them to, I don't know, Finland or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's quite funny.
Yeah. It's, I really love Eurovision. I know it's one of those things where I think you have to sort of embrace the insanity of it. Like, I think you'd struggle to watch Eurovision dead sober. Or if something dramatic had happened in your actual day-to-day life. If you were sad for any reason, you'd struggle to watch Eurovision.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll definitely get involved next time as long as it's nothing like the film. It's
not
so
like
far
the film,
removed. No. Yeah. But are you sated on enough
I'm
bullshit?
sated now. I've spoken at great length about Eurovision. I'm overjoyed. I am thrilled. I am still riding the Eurovision high. Eating loads of crap food, doing some drinking, watching Eurovision. It's good. Yeah. It's a good time.
Well, let's bring you right back down to
let's get me really depressed and sad.
Yep.
Yep.
Iceland! Because he shouts a name in the film.
He shouts Khan, but Iceland. Yeah, I mean, that
Iceland
works. I'll accept it.
Doesn't fuck. Okay, so this week...
hate the joke.
I know.
Make a joke and then say, no, that doesn't fucking work.
It does. Have you ever I can't think of a comparison, but it's my mistake. It's up to me to clean it.
No, but that's like somebody going on stage, like a stand-up going on stage, getting their jokes wrong, and then saying, "Oh, sorry, that was wrong. This is what the joke was actually supposed to be." The most you'll get is a polite titter out of the audience as they go, "Yeah, I suppose that's a funny wet play on words. I suppose." Yeah, do you know what I mean?
I wasn't replacing it though. I was just saying, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have said it. I wasn't going, "Haha, here's a better one." Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I'll give you an opportunity now. Have a better one if you can think of one. A monosyllabic Eurovision nation. France.
Yeah.
France! That works, sort of.
Yeah, so we're talking about Star Trek 2. We're talking about Star Trek 2, The Wrath of France.
Yep. The French Eurovision entry is played by Ricardo Montalban. No, go on.
Quite right. Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. Fine. And it was written by Jack B. Sowards, and it was directed by Nicholas Meyer, and is starring William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy, Ricardo Montalban, Kirstie Alley, DeForest Kelley, and George Takei, and some other people.
Yeah, buckets of people in this. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
It's that's the thing I do find is, like, a lot of the time, really good movies will either have a cast of like 3 people because they're a stage play filmed, kind of.
Yep.
Or they'll have a cast of 300 people and you couldn't possibly hope to remember them all.
Yeah, but it
Like
it
1917,
works.
that had such a huge army of people in it.
Yeah, and I think it had every British actor apart from me and
Every
you, Lewis.
British actor ever, yeah. They saw us, they listened to the podcast and went, oh, fucking hell, no, let's not have them 2 idiots in.
Yep, every single British actor is in that film except Lewis
Ian
and
McKellen,
myself.
he's in it.
Yep.
Sir Patrick Stewart, he's in it. Sir Ian McKellen,
Yep.
even. Yeah, they're all in it.
Oh, Serene, don't... in case he hears you. Know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I met him once. I must have told this story. Yeah, I met him. He was great.
Was he?
Yeah, it was cool. He did this tour of the UK for his 80th birthday.
Oh yeah, I think you have said that.
Yeah, it was like going and watching his memoirs live. But yeah, afterwards he stood in the foyer and collected money to donate to the theatre, sort of thing. And yeah, I met him, shook his hand. He was really cool.
I think he stood in the foyer, collected money with a gun in his hand.
Yeah, he stood in the foyer, collected money, and then we went outside to go and get in the car. We saw him go from the theatre to the Greggs next door, put a bucket of money on the counter and say, I will have every steak bake in this place, please.
That would have been a good spending spree of that money.
I've never had a steak bake for obvious reasons. Are they as good as people seem to think they are?
No,
Okay.
no, they're good, but they're not amazing.
I'll tell you what is fucking banging. Greggs used to do a raspberry and cranberry water. It was like a sugar-free drink that was just really fucking good. I was filming, what was it? It was Stepping Up, a series I did quite a few years ago in Liverpool. And there was a Greggs sort of down the road from the hotel that I was staying in. And I remember going into this Greggs and buying exorbitant quantities of this water because it was just so good.
Yeah.
And then walking back to the hotel laden with the water. It just tasted amazing. You know how cranberry-flavoured things are often have quite a dry taste, and you drink them and you're like, oh, that needs a bit more water in this water. It didn't have a dry taste at all. It wasn't overly sweet. It was 0 added sugar. I think it was like 0 calories. It was just really good. I think about it sometimes, and sometimes like, whenever I see a Greggs, I sort of look in the Greggs, and they never have it. It's really sad.
I can just imagine you walk by, looking at a Greggs forlornly, like, oh, that's a shame.
Oh, they don't have any of the raspberry and cranberry water. I'm sad now. I don't even think there's a Greggs near my house. No, there isn't. I'd have to walk for quite a while to get to a Greggs. I can imagine myself going on like a pilgrimage to the nearest Greggs, walking for like 2 hours, getting there and being like, do you have any raspberry and cranberry water? No, sir, we discontinued that in 2016. Oh my God. They'd just vomit on the floor and pass out and
Jesus
die. Yeah.
Right, well, let's get started before we
Okay.
it's half an hour in with no... do you have an opening statement?
I do. Greggs raspberry and cranberry water is perhaps a great example of some of Trek's greatness is human stories in a stupendous sci-fi setting.
Eloquent.
Go on, have you got a cheeky statement?
Yes, an excellent, exciting, thought-provoking film that brings back a one-off villain and turned him into one of the most iconic characters in movie history. Thoroughly enjoyed watching.
Yeah, it's a good one, this. It's
Yeah.
It's widely regarded as one of the best Star Trek films of all time.
Yeah.
I remember I first watched this when I was about 13, I think. I'd been watching the Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto Star Trek movies. And I said, I really like this. And I said to my dad, who's a big fan of Star Trek, what other Star Trek should I watch? And I'll watch some with you. I think I quite like it. we sat down and watched this, and it sort of killed my love of Star Trek stone dead. Because
really?
it was like, comparatively, it was like really slow. And like, I didn't know any of the characters, and I was like, I mean, it's okay, I guess. But yeah, looking back at it now, it's really good. It's, as I say, it's some of the things that make Star Trek great appear in this. And I think, maybe the pacing and the over-explaining, there is better Star Trek out there, I would argue, but I do like this movie.
I mean, I think that's what separates Star Trek from Star Wars. Like, Star Wars has always been about the sort of explosive action stuff, whereas Star Trek has that, but there's more quiet, contemplative stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's that... What's that episode of TNG where it's literally just Picard in a village playing a flute for the entire episode?
Yeah,
and it's like maybe we should remember this planet by playing this flute. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's almost a bit like Doctor Who in that sense. It can take liberties to be a bit experimental, and do stuff rather than just space battle.
Space Battle 1, Space Battle 2, Space Battle 3. It's a film put together by an algorithm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you know what I just did, Danny? I voiced my opinion on this film, and I would say that perhaps as a patron perk, yes, patron. It's like
a robot.
Yeah, it does. As a patron perk, maybe we should voice some of our patrons' opinions on this movie.
Yes.
Dougie, of course, recommended this movie to us, which is the reason why we're talking about it today. Yep. And I've got one of his opinions just here. It's probably the best of the entire franchise. Nicholas Meyer, the director, said that he and the producer, Harve Bennett, brought equal amounts of respect and disrespect to Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future, and that's why it worked.
Wow.
Adisha says, I just found out that Star Trek, one of the biggest media franchises by revenue. I've never considered it, but I suppose, that does make sense. When you add it all up, that's a lot of stuff. Because I can't imagine a lot of, like, Worf action figures ever got sold. But, like, Worf plus Spock plus Janeway plus... Do you know what I mean? You add them all together.
Yeah, or you look on, like, Eagle Moss and you see like, all the ships in resin,
Yeah. And also...
And how many shows?
Fucking more than anyone can ever name. There was the original series, and they did a couple of series of the original series, but animated.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure why. I've never bothered to look into it, to be perfectly honest with you. They did Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. What's it called? The one with... it's like... They're like going out. They're the first people
Enterprise.
to do... Enterprise, that's it, yeah.
And then
Discovery, obviously. Yeah, so 6, 7? That's a whole bunch.
Yeah, and then there's like about... How many movies are there?
Oh, Christ, so many. They made 5 or 6 original series movies. There's the 3 reboot movies, which are called the Kelvin timeline, for assorted insane reasons.
First one was good. Second one was quite good. Third one was... don't know what it was... I didn't really like the third one. No.
Well, I thought it was okay. It wasn't my favourite movie of all time. I thought it was pretty good.
No, I didn't like it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and they made a few Next Generation movies as well. I think they made 3 or 4 of them.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Oh my God.
First Contact is the other film that's sort of... I think it's called Star Trek First Contact. It's the other film that's vying for sort of the top spot versus Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, the Borg Queen is in that.
One. Yeah, and it's Zefram Cochrane first developing faster than light travel.
That's right.
Yeah, which I mean I've never seen it, but I have heard good things.
Yeah, there's a whole arc for Data, like wanting to become human and all that, and like, it's
I love
cool.
Data so much. He's great.
Yeah.
He's my favourite. There's a lot of episodes of TNG where if Data wasn't involved, it would be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. There's just something so very charming about him. I don't know what it is. It's great.
Speaking of Data, Brett Spiner, who plays Data, also played an augment, which is the sort of type of person that Khan is in Enterprise, because there were multiple sort of genetically modified superhumans, and he woke up as well. So that was
very interesting.
A good series of episodes. But anyway, do you have one more opinion to read?
I don't think I do. I might do. No, I don't think I do.
No? Okay, well,
Okay, but
guys,
I do want to quickly address Dougie's thing that you said here. Brought equal amounts of respect and disrespect to Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future. I think that's a really cool thing to say. It's what's the words I'm looking for here? I think Gene Roddenberry had a very singular vision of the future, and I think he had this very this is how things should be and how things will be, and I will it to be so sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it's interesting to come at that with come at a utopian sort of future and come at that in an aggressive, disagreeing sort of way and see where that takes you. I think that's a really interesting way to make a film, and I think it does sort of come through in this of what's the problem with a utopian future. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
That's my last opinion, because it's my opinion, and I will not be voicing my opinion at all for the remainder of the episode.
Well, guys, thank you so much for your opinions.
Yeah, thank
you. Shameless plug incoming. If you want to voice your opinion, join our Patreon today.
Yeah, what we need to do is have some kind of sponsor music that's like really cheesy, the kind of advert,
1980s.
Yeah, the kind of music you'd expect to hear playing under an advert that Saul Goodman makes to sell acting workshops or something.
Yep, definitely.
You need that, and then whenever we do a cheeky plug, we'll just play 2 seconds of that music underneath it. Yeah.
There you go. What we really need is a mixing board.
Yes, that's what we need.
Like a proper radio show, because it's just me.
Those ones on is it Parks and Rec, where they had 2 radio hosts that were just massive cocks, and they had like a guy with a mixing board that was just silently sat in the corner remixing everything that everybody said, and he kept doing things at like a breakneck pace, and people that were being interviewed would just look at him incredulous and be like, "How did you make that soundbite so quickly? I only just finished saying it." So yeah, maybe we do need a soundboard. Maybe we need that guy from Parks and Rec, whoever he might be. I don't even know if he was named in the show.
Maybe, but yeah, we'll track him down for you folks. We need to talk about this film. We're
Yes,
40
we do.
minutes in. Jesus Christ, fucking hell!
Go on, voice some opinions about this film.
Okay, so the Kobayashi Maru test is a great opening to the sort of no-win scenario that they're going to face.
I love the
later on.
Kobayashi Maru. It's a brilliant. It's because it's such a stupid fucking concept, but because it's like if somebody said to you, "I think the best way to train these new recruits is to put them into an unwinnable scenario, just see what happens, see how they deal with that," you'd go, "No, I think maybe we should concentrate on like drills and skills. Maybe we should concentrate on what they're good at and teach them things. No, let's fuck them about. Let's put them in a video game where they're going to die." Oh, I mean, okay. What did you say, Admiral?
I suppose, in some way it's very useful because, like, you know, if you're going to be a Starfleet captain, you're probably going to have the risk of you facing a no-win scenario is going to be pretty large. But then again, if we're doing like driving tests and all that, like the driving instructor doesn't command me to drive off a fucking cliff. You know what I mean? Just to say, that could happen.
It's not like there's a bit in your driving test where like suddenly the testing guy reaches across and just yanks the wheel and drives you into a wall. It's just like, deal with that. That could happen anytime anyone's in the passenger seat. Deal with it. No, I think the Kobayashi Maru is a great test because plus it's part of Kirk in a weird way because obviously Kirk cheated when he did his Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah.
And I think it sets up something wonderful about other characters to know that they don't want to cheat, but they don't want to not cheat.
Yeah.
And it sort of encourages lateral thinking and doing what you can, and I really like it.
Yeah. It's treated differently in this timeline than the Kelvin timeline because they said that it was like, oh, you got rewarded for ingenuity and all that, but in the Kelvin timeline it was like, oh, you cheated. And
yeah, it was taken up in front of like a tribunal of all the recruits.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, there's been an emergency, let's all fuck off. Like, is that really how it works? Like, you just wait for a phone call?
We've half resolved this. Come on, guys, let's hop into space.
Jesus Christ, Khan is a great villain.
Khan's a really good villain. Yeah, it's he has this simmering intensity that I think I just don't see anywhere else. He's really good villain.
Yeah,
Ricardo Montalban played him stupendously well.
Yeah. Who do you prefer, Benedict or Ricardo?
I think it's got to be Ricardo, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I think if Benedict Cumberbatch didn't have the voice that he has, I think him playing Khan wouldn't be as good. Does that make sense? Because I don't think Benedict Cumberbatch... I think the only thing that made that performance good was the fact that he spoke very differently to everybody else on screen. So you were like, oh, this is a man from a different era, hey. But if he's had the same voice, if he was Chris Pine's next-door neighbour, then I think he'd just be like, oh, it's just another guy, but he's more violent, I guess. Do you know what I mean? I think it wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, and I feel as if in the Kelvin timeline they whitewashed him a little bit, because Khan is meant to have conquered a great amount of Asia and the Middle East by the time he's put in. So that was interesting to see different sort of ethnicities and different augments that are actually ruling the world. But okay, what we need is a posh villain, a posh white villain, because that'll do it. I mean, it's like we've seen that before, and the reason they chose Benedict Cumberbatch was because he was popular at that time, and he could do the sort of creepy, smarter than everyone else weirdo.
It's like getting David Tennant to play somebody that's very similar to Killmonger, or like getting Giancarlo Esposito to play someone very similar to Gus Fring.
Yeah,
that's what you're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. Like this version of Khan, the quotes that he says, the sort of the from Hell's Heart, I stab at thee. There's a sort of theatrical megalomaniacal sort of element to it, which
almost
is pretty
like Megamind.
Yeah, a little bit, but far more terrifying.
Yeah, far more horrifying.
Yeah, but that's it works. I suppose it probably wouldn't have worked in the new films, as much. But the dialogue in this film is just so much faster and so much smarter, I think.
Yeah, you're right. I think it's that's something I do like about this film, is watching sort of the mental games unfold between Khan and I was going to say Khan and Kirk. Yeah, Khan and Kirk. That's right. I like watching that unfold because they both kind of know their worth in a strange way. They know what they're good at. They know what they're bad at, and they're used to playing their strengths because they're both old. They've both done this before in a funny way. They're both kind of used to doing this sort of thing, and it's really good to watch them do it. I don't know.
Yeah, I like how the film is ultimately about Kirk living up to his past failings.
Yeah,
He abandoned Khan on that world. He abandoned his son, and it's about him sort of having to deal with the consequences of his actions, and how maybe even him becoming admiral, he's sort of running away from where he actually belongs, and it's dealing with problems and issues head on, because that's the way he works, and that's what's probably best for him as a
I think that's something that I do find interesting about Kirk, is he's played almost as though he's a dying breed of he's sort of in a world of people where people are more intellectual and people are more sort of like Picard, they want to sit down at a conference table and talk about it. In a world where that's the case, Kirk is in the minority of people that want to just confront their problems head on and just sort of... What's that Winston Churchill quote from The Crown? There is no matter that cannot be satisfactorily resolved in 20 minutes or fewer.
Yeah, true.
Kirk is one of the only people that want to do that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not...
It's fog, ma'am.
It's fog, ma'am.
What? He's from New York. I was amazed when I learned that.
Yeah.
He's entirely organic. It's incredible.
Have you seen him in Daddy's Home 2?
I have not. I saw him in Pitch Perfect 3.
Oh, well, he plays Will Ferrell's dad.
Okay.
In Daddy's Home 2. And he's quite funny in it. It's completely different from him playing fucking Winston Churchill. Jesus. I thought the worm scene was fucking terrifying.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that happen in this film that are terrifying.
Yeah. But I thought the worm was meant to kill. Because Chekhov survived, right? Which is great because I love Chekhov. But isn't the worm meant to kill the person? Khan said that it was you will suffer madness, and then death, like that. You know.
That's a good point. I don't know. Is it just a script thing?
It might just be a plot hole.
It might just be a cheeky plot hole, as you do, sort of thing.
Cheeky pro.
I also like that the clothes are sort of ridiculous in this film.
Yeah.
I know that it's a strange thing to like, but I like that it's a... When did this movie come out? 1982, I think it was?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, 1982. I like that it's a 1982 view of what people will be wearing in the future. Like, I don't know, it's something I like about it. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, and I like how Khan and his people are sort of... aren't just wearing the classical sort of bad guy stuff. It's clothes that they've had to wear because of the environment that they're in, and they don't stop to change into some weird, you know, what's his name from Flash Gordon? Emperor Ming, you know, like the ridiculous over thing. You know, I like the fact that it's just not... I don't care what I'm wearing. I've got a mission to do, and I'm going to kill Kirk.
It does have that internal logic to it. You're right. It's like I'm just here to kill Kirk. I'm just here to exact my revenge, and he will stop at nothing.
Yeah, definitely. I really enjoy the game of cat and mouse, like especially at the beginning. Like the sort of intellectual sort of back and forth, and when Kirk finally realizes it's Khan and all that, and it's like that's my favorite part of like Star Trek, where it's like you've got you know, our guys on the ship try to figure out what's going on, you know, and oddly enough the sort of the commands that are given, it's like do this, do that, it's like it doesn't ever change, you know. There's not like a sort of Deus Ex Machina that comes out from it. You know, it's like it's all there, and it's all been ready-made, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's not like pull out the big laser that we've never used before. Like, it's always like photon torpedoes or phasers or something. Like, there's always an internal sort of scientific logic to it, which I like.
I couldn't agree more. That's one of the things I like about Star Trek, is the logic to the internal world building. It's so rare that there's a bizarre ex machina. The closest you get in a lot of Trek is somebody remembering a fact about a species. Like, oh, shit, yeah, they're like, they hate really loud noises, or whatever it is. And it's like, oh, well, you remember that screaming worm from the start of the episode? Well, use that now. And it's that's the closest you get, but even then, it's mostly things that have been set up within the episode, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, Spock dies in this film.
He does.
It's a film that came out in 1982. I'm not really concerned about spoilers, but Spock dies, and they just chuck him into space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't he be taken back to Vulcan?
Yeah, Vulcan, or even Earth, because he's half Vulcan,
he's
half human.
Yeah.
But my thing about just chucking him into space is I get that it's kind of... That's another thing I like about Star Trek, is it's like a naval ship. And I like that they sort of follow naval traditions, but it's in space. Because
the bagpipes,
you can see exactly. You can see the world building there of, we've got these big boats in the ocean, and then we've got these big boats in space. Do you know what I mean? And you can sort of see the transition, and you can build it up in your head, the transition there. So I get that it's like if somebody dies at sea or on like a pirate ship or something, you chuck them in the ocean. I get that, because then they will degrade and whatever. But you chuck Spock out into space, he's almost
certainly gonna land somewhere.
Yeah, he's not going to degrade. He's just gonna fly about literally forever.
Yeah.
So he's not going to. Yeah, I don't. I understand why they did it.
Yeah, it's set up for the next film.
Well, yeah. But I would have thought, wouldn't you launch him into a sun to cremate him? Wouldn't you bury him on an actual planet? Do you know what I mean? It just seems like a weird choice to just chuck him out into space and just be like, yep, that's good. We've nailed that. And just let's get back to work.
It would have been really ballsy if they kept Spock dead.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, Into Darkness, Spock talks about Khan and says, "Oh yeah, we defeated him at great cost and all that." Well, not really. Like, not if you're still here, mate. Do you know what I mean? If you obviously some people died, but you know it's the same. It's the red shirt thing, you know.
Yeah.
But like, if Spock had like died, that would have been like, whoa, you know.
Yeah, that's something different. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would have cemented Khan as like the ultimate
Star
sort of
Trek
villain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're right. It's I think the problem is that because Star Trek, I think, is obviously inherently a TV medium. So you have that what's that Dan Harmon cyclical narrative where the final step is and everything is back to how it was.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult to write a Star Trek movie without that being the case.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
that's why I think time travel often comes up, is because it's easy to travel to a different time, have a self-contained adventure, and then go back and be like, well, everything's the same in both timelines. Do you know what I mean? It's difficult to say that, do you know?
Mm-hmm. I like that the, in quotation marks, superior intellect is like, it's almost certainly going to cause like an ego problem. And
Yes.
like, you know, Khan is just so fucking pissed off that he's like, no, I'm going to chase him forever. And he's going to, it's like, we've got this big device where we can start again. You know, we can just create a world for ourselves and all that. But no, Khan's like, no. He's going to die.
Got to chase Kirk down forever. That's the only logical outcome to this problem.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, that's... I just really like this film. I really like how it's just, you know, oh no, he's dead. Oh no, he isn't. Oh shit, what we're gonna do now? You know, it's like it's it's very sort of pantomime in that sort of way, but without it becoming ridiculous.
You're right. It's there is a lot of confusing back and forth, and I think that keeps you guessing, which is lovely. Another thing this film does quite well is the sort of gentle world building that I really like. We see the Enterprise start to be used as like a training ship, which was always kind of coming, because of course it was. I think I like seeing these gentle things where it's like, and then you learn a bit more of the life cycle of a starship. What's it used for? What happens when it gets old? What happens to different crew members when they age? What happens to... Do you know what I mean? And I really do quite like that.
No, definitely. And it's it you know, it again brings this theme of like the past and the future. Like the young are sort of, you know, coming along on this journey as well. Because Star Trek will have been like what, a couple of decades old by this point.
Yeah, 65 was when
the
series came out. I don't know.
So like, there's no really better way to like cement the future than like killing off an old enemy. And
1966. Yeah, sorry, go on.
Wow. So Doctor Who came out 63, was it? Or 69?
Yeah.
No, it was after Kennedy got shot or before.
When did Doctor Who start? 2005. Oh, thanks, Google. 1963.
Yes. What was I saying?
I have completely forgotten.
Oh yeah, so so there's really no better way to sort of cement the sort of future of the next generation, as it were, without like sort of getting rid of an old enemy and confronting your past and bringing along these new people. I do wish that we got to know them a bit more. We obviously got to know the other Vulcan student a wee bit, you know. But you know, that would have been nice to sort of see them sort of grow up in some way.
Yeah, to see Spock and Kirk as teachers at the academy. Well, I suppose we did, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, more so.
Because I'm just thinking of other bits of Star Trek I've watched to the end. Because in TNG, we sort of in the final episode, All Good Things, there's like a time paradoxy type thing where Picard sees himself in the future and the past and all these sort of bits. And he sees like he retires from Starfleet to go and farm grapes for wine, and like Data becomes poet laureate at Oxford, and it's like, I do like seeing. It is a good way to conclude a narrative, is to say, and they have a finished character arc rather than and what comes next, because that's what you come to expect with a TV show.
And then they made Picard.
Yes, which I haven't actually watched. Have you watched it?
I haven't either.
I think the general consensus is,
I know that 7 of 9 is in it, and the Borg are in it, which is pretty cool.
I think Data's in it as well, very briefly, yeah.
Yeah, I like 7 of 9.
I have not watched enough Voyager to comment, I'm afraid.
Oh, you need to watch Voyager. It's on Netflix, I think.
It is. I watched the first episode and thought, oh, that's good, I'll have to watch the rest of that. And then I just haven't got around to it.
Yeah. But
I think I am out of notes, Cocker. Are you?
I think so as well. Do you have a closing statement?
I do have a closing statement. It's easy to see why this is such a good film, and it is one of the greatest Star Trek movies of all time. A really great film, from simplicity to complexity to everything in between. It's just a really good movie, man.
Yeah. Can we have more Star Trek films
Yes, you
like this,
can.
please?
There is so much Star Trek out there.
Yeah. No, this is a really fantastic film, and I really enjoyed it. Simple as. Doesn't always have to be a big, profound thing. Sometimes it's just nice to watch a film about, good characters, complex characters in space fighting each other, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes it's just nice to watch a good movie.
Certainly. Well, that was Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
Among other things.
Yes, among Eurovision and all sorts of things.
Movie bloopers and...
Yep.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Dougie, for recommending this.
Yeah, thank you.
But
if you would also like to recommend things for us to do in the future, you can go to patreon.com/shoutingintothevoid, and you can hop into being one of our patrons, and we'll put your suggestions on a list.
Yes. Should we do some cheeky shilling?
Yeah, let's shill.
Yeah. The podcast has link trees. Lewis's link tree is linktr.ee/Lewis_Brindley. Mine's is /O'Hiram, and the podcast's is /shoutingintothevoid. All together, lowercase, obviously. We have all our socials on there, our Instagram, our YouTube. Go have a look, see what you fancy. We have a PayPal donate button, so anything you can spare, anything at all, would be greatly appreciated. And we want to take the opportunity, as we do every week, to thank our wonderful, wonderful patrons. Chloe.
Thank you.
Darius.
Thank you.
Sophie.
Thank you.
Peter.
Thank you.
Aditya.
Thank you.
Richard.
Thank you.
Natalie.
Thank you.
And Dougie.
Thank you, one and all. You make the show possible, and you make us able to talk at great length about Eurovision. Maybe one day we will we'll watch Eurovision, and we'll vlog it while we watch Eurovision.
Yeah, maybe so. Well, we'll need to wait and see. Hopefully you'll have forgotten by then. We also have merch on Teespring and Redbubble. We sell tote bags, jumpers, T-shirts, mugs, all sorts of stuff. Go have a look. Go treat yourself. Treat yourself. Yeah, and last but certainly not least, we are partnered with a fantastic company called Number 12 Crochet Avenue, and Lewis is going to say some wonderful things about them, all of which are true.
Indeed I am. Number 12 Crochet Avenue is a wonderful company run by my wonderful wife, in which she crochets, and she's very, very good at it. If you would like to get the latest hot things, I was going to say hot takes, but if you would like to get beautiful content blessing your Instagram feed, then you can go to @Number 12 Crochet Avenue on Instagram and take a look, and there is plenty of beautiful content to go out there, so go and take a look, give her a follow.
Absolutely. Well, that's us, I think.
That is us, yeah.
So would you like to explain the plans for next week, Lewis?
Okay, so every single episode on the podcast, essentially, Danny and I like to quote an episode of Family Guy, because, of course, we do. So we've decided that once and for all, we're going to talk about Family Guy, and then we can go back to quoting it, safe in the knowledge that people will be like, ah, yes, that confusing nonsense episode that they did. Ah, yes, good. I have vaguely forgotten the plans. I think, if I'm not at all mistaken, that we said we were going to pick a favourite episode each and talk about those episodes. Is that right?
That is right.
Wonderful.
But before we do that, there's going to be a storytelling into the void again.
There is.
So we're going to do that first, and then we will get to Family Guy.
And, of course we will.
And carry on as we always do.
I'm really looking forward to doing the storytelling. I'm recording it later this week. It's one of my favourite short stories. The Donor by Claire McIntosh. It's a really good book.
Nice.
I think a lot of places have it for just £1 or so. It's really, really good. So maybe go buy a copy if you want to know in advance what the story is about.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I might give it a read. But yeah, so that's exciting. So yeah, we will hear you, see you, smell you, chase you round the moons of Nibia
Yep.
next time.
Indeed we will. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.